good, YouTube? Welcome back to JY's Adventures. A lot of people asked me to react to this video. Y'all said react to all the how to beat Saw videos. That's what y'all said in the comment section. Okay, I checked out the Saw 3D one. Yeah, I wanted to see more. Link to the original videos down in the description. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We're about to be checking out how to beat every Saw trap. Without any further ado, let's go, man.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And you guys probably know that some of the most iconic horror films are the Saw movies. There are 8 of them to date, and they've had such a massive impact on popular culture that there's even a Simpsons episode featuring its ideas.
What the? I'm chained up like a common bicycle!
But let's get into the video, where we'll break down the movie as well as how you can beat all of the traps in it. The
I love the Saw movies.
Starts with 2 men waking up in a torture chamber chained to pipes by their ankles. Neither of them know anything about what's going on or why they're here. One of the men is a photographer named Adam, and the other is Lawrence Gordon, a medical doctor. Although they believe they've been chosen randomly, their storylines are actually very closely intertwined, but more on that later. In the middle of the room, we see a man lying on the floor who's holding a revolver in one hand and a tape recorder in the other. Both Adam and Lawrence then find microtapes in their pockets and play them. Adam's tape simply reveals that he must survive, while Dr. Gordon's tape says that he must kill Adam by 6 PM to escape this room and see his kidnapped wife and daughter again.
This movie, man. I love horror movies, guys. Saw was one of my favorite series when it came to horror movies. Jigsaw, such an iconic fictional character, guys.
Says that he must kill Adam by 6 PM to escape this room and see his kidnapped wife and daughter again. On his tape, we also hear a voice in the background mention that he must follow his heart. This leads them to check the toilet that has a heart drawn on it. In it, Adam finds a bag with 2 saws and a bunch of pictures. He throws one of the saws to Lawrence but hides the photos from him. They try to cut the chains but soon realize that they're supposed to cut off the foot and chains to free themselves.
He doesn't want us to cut through our chains.
He wants us to cut our feet.
And this is where there are some opportunities to free yourself without doing what's intended.
Question for the video: would y'all cut y'all feet to get away?
The easiest way to overcome this is to cut through the rusty pipes instead of the metal chains.
Cut through the pipes.
Far weaker than ones that aren't, and judging by the state of this disgusting bathroom, these pipes should be pretty soft.
So easy to cut through.
There's still another way. They could, for example, take the big solid toilet tank lid and try breaking the padlock that holds them to the pipes. The lid might eventually break, but forcing open a padlock with brute force has been shown to work in the past, so it's at least worth a try.
Oh, that's dope! I didn't know that.
Piece of your foot instead of the entire thing. Either cut through the bone that sticks out of your foot or remove a part of your heel, depending on how the chains are attached. This would be extremely painful, but it's far quicker and better than cutting off your entire foot.
If you cut off your heel, you could slide your foot out easier.
This would be extremely painful, but it's far quicker and better than cutting off your entire foot. But this one is probably the easiest.
Right.
Anyways, now we get a flashback that reveals the first big chunk of clues regarding the villain of the movie. We follow 2 cops, Tap and Sing, who see the crime sites of 2 previous victims of the killer. The first one we see is a man who had to escape a small maze filled with razor wire. If he can't complete the task, he will be left there to rot. And this guy had the fairly interesting approach of throwing himself onto the wire. I don't know what he thought would happen, but if you're ever in this situation, you should do the exact opposite. Notice how there are no wires on the floor. So the first step you should follow to beat this is crawling on the ground with your stomach side down to not expose any of your major veins to the wire. And since the wiring seems to have been put in place rather loosely, you could try taking the underwear, put it around your hands, and use it to carefully push the wire out of the way. Escaping this maze might take some time, but there's a good reason why you got 2 hours to complete it. Instead, what this guy did is panic and charge at the wire
rush through.
Not a good idea at all.
No.
But there's
he didn't even think about it.
way to escape this. A way so easy it literally takes nothing. And this is simply doing nothing. If he does nothing, he's just left there. So if he's the guy with a family and lots of friends who are looking for him, they would have eventually discovered him. Now, unfortunately, he wasn't that type of guy, so he only got found after a couple of weeks. The police also find a jigsaw puzzle piece cut out of his back. This leads to our villain being dubbed as the Jigsaw Killer. Then we come to our
If he did nothing, he would have been safe?
And this one is a little trickier. Mark was trapped in a room with glass on the floor. On his tape, we hear that he was injected with a poison. To survive, he must use the candle to illuminate the wall that has a hidden code to the safe, which holds the antidote. However, the code is written among a bunch of other numbers on the wall. Also, he's covered in flammable gel, so I must be careful with that candle. This puzzle is oft misunderstood, but essentially you have these numbers on the wall,
Yeah.
but the combination of the safe is written slightly differently. It's Mark's job to find these hidden numbers and enter them into the safe to get the antidote to the poison in his body. If you're in this situation, there's kind of only one solution, and that is being extremely careful with a candle. Hold it at an angle and far away from your body. The numbers on the wall are really big, so there's no reason to get your head this close to them anyways. When it comes to the glass, there is something you could try. Instead of stomping on it like this, you could try pushing the glass out of the way. But that only works if it's a thin layer of glass on the floor. Oh, and by the way, the reason Jigsaw kidnapped this guy is that he skipped work. He called in sick when he really wasn't, and that's apparently enough to justify setting him on fire.
I didn't even remember that.
At this particular crime scene, the police find a pen light. Tap wants to check the fingerprints on it, and they come back as Dr. Gordon's. This leads them to the hospital where he works. There we see him talk to a group of students about a patient with a brain tumor. One of the orderlies named Zepp interrupts him and informs us that his name is John. Soon after, Dr. Gordon is asked to speak to the police about the prints on the pen. Tap asks him to follow them down to the station where he witnesses a testimony with Amanda, the only known survivor of Jigsaw's games.
She survived?
She woke up in a chair with a big machine strapped to her head.
Then the
TV turns on and we see the puppet Billy
trap.
informing her about how the device will forcefully pry open her jaw and function as a reverse bear trap if she can't get the key from another man's organs. As she stands up from the chair, she removes the mechanical trigger and the timer to the trap goes off. She cuts the other guy open, retrieves the key, and manages to remove the mask. Amanda reveals to the police that she believes that her experience actually...
But she got it a lot easier. She just had to cut open somebody's, she didn't have to cut herself open to get the key. I ain't watched the movie in so long, guys, because this is an OG movie.
Manages to remove the mask. Amanda reveals to the police that she believes that her experience actually helped her with her drug addictions. Make of that what you will. To beat this one, you would firstly need to calm down. That's the key to most of these traps.
Yeah,
Jigsaw wants you to panic
collect
without
yourself.
first getting a good sense of your surroundings.
Think.
But you should do the opposite and not start running around, as this trap gets triggered when you stand up
as soon as you stand up.
Trigger from the mask. So remain in the chair and carefully remove the trigger, and that way you have an infinite amount of time to remove the mask.
Right.
The second way of beating this is demonstrated by a character called Hoffman, who is introduced in the later movies. He gets this trap put on him and he survives it by putting the mask in between two steel bars. The trap goes off but is blocked from opening by the bars. Since the rooms the characters are in aren't empty, you can probably find two parallel pipes or a small enough space to cram your mask into.
Take time to
more
explore.
Time to remove the mask. Yes, doing it this way can be quite painful, but again, it's better than dying. So now we return to Adam and Dr. Gordon, who slowly progress through their trap, before we get yet another flashback which also reveals a lot about the killer. We follow our two cops as they break into Jigsaw's lair. There they discover a man tied to a chair. Unfortunately, Jigsaw returns while they're snooping around. He then sets off the trap to kill the man. While the police officers try to stop the machine, the killer reveals that he has a sickness inside of him. They actually manage to beat this trap by shooting at it. So this one is given
the trap.
to us. However, as Tap stops paying attention, in a split second he gets his throat cut by Jigsaw,
killer took him down.
Manages to survive. The killer runs away but is pursued by Detective Singh, but he
Trap
gets killed
wire.
by another sneaky trap. This one, along with the one before that, are not really beatable, but it's also not a saw trap. It's not intended to be beaten, so we're not counting these. Back in our torture chamber, Dr. Gordon finds a box that includes a cell phone which can only receive calls but not make them, as well as 2 cigarettes. With the cigarette comes a note that implies that Dr. Gordon can kill Adam by dipping one of the cigarettes in the poisoned blood of the man lying on the floor and making him smoke it. Lawrence tries making an outgoing call but only hears the phone's error message.
Not working.
This makes him remember what happened before. So we get another flashback revealing how Dr. Gordon was kidnapped and sedated in a parking garage after supposedly returning from work. In the flashback, he explains how he heard someone taking a picture of him shortly before he got attacked. The next thing he remembers is waking up in the bathroom. As we come back, Adam reveals one of the pictures he has been hiding from Gordon.
You wake up in a situation like that, y'all. I can't.
In the bathroom. As we come back, Adam reveals one of the pictures he has been hiding from Gordon.
I can't even
We see his wife and daughter tied up. Then Adam tells Gordon the last thing he remembered before he ended up here. He was developing photographs in his apartment when the power suddenly goes out. And while stumbling around his apartment, he gets overpowered by a man in a pig mask. Gordon then receives a phone call from an unknown number. He answers it and it turns out that it's his wife and kid. His wife mysteriously brings up Adam's name and tells Lawrence that he shouldn't believe his lies, and that Adam knew about him long before today. Adam comes clean and confesses to Dr. Gordon
He was taking
that he had been
photos.
hired by Tap to spy on him.
I remember that part of the
Believed him to
movie.
be the killer. It turns out that Adam took his picture that night in the parking garage, but Lawrence wasn't coming back from the hospital. In reality, he lied about that, as he was returning from a motel where he was about to cheat on his wife. with one of his students. Lawrence claims that nothing happened, while Adam states that he doesn't care if he covered himself in peanut butter and had a 15-hooker gangbang. That's not important to the story, I just like mentioning it. Adam reveals all of the pictures that were in the bag, and one of the photographs shows Zepp, the orderly at Dr. Gordon's hospital. This leads them to believe that he's the killer, and it is in fact Zepp who's holding Dr. Gordon's family hostage. However, as they figure this out, the clock strikes 6 p.m., which means that Lawrence's time to kill Adam is up, so his family will face the consequences. Zepp calls Dr. Gordon to tell him this, and he is about to shoot his wife, but she manages to free herself. A fight ensues, which leads to the gun being discharged many times, but it doesn't hit anybody. Dr. Gordon hears the shots over the phone and panics as he believes that his wife has been killed. In a state of desperation,
Cuts
he
his
saws
foot
gun
off
and grabs the gun from the body and shoots Adam in the shoulder. Back in the apartment, we see that Tap noticed the noise and entered the apartment to save Lawrence's family. Meanwhile, Lawrence's wife and kid escape. Since both Zepp and the cops suck at shooting, Zepp also manages to escape and is chased back to the torture chamber to at least kill Lawrence. As he arrives in the lair, Zepp manages to kill Tap. He then wants to kill Dr. Gordon too, but Adam, who was merely injured by the gunshot, manages to take Zepp out with a toilet tank lid. Lawrence escapes the torture chamber with his one remaining foot. Adam then finds one last tape on Zepp's body. This reveals that he's also merely a part of the game, and it's revealed that he was injected with a poison, and he only kidnapped Lawrence's family in order to receive the antidote once he completed all the tasks mentioned on the tape. Then the body who has been there the entire time stands up, and we learn that it's John Kramer.
Yo, when I was watching the movie, and that moment when the body he was just laying there the whole time, and then he just was like, doo, and they used the dramatic music. I remember if they used the dramatic music, but I felt it. I felt it be so dramatic when he was getting up. This man was just laying there the whole time.
Then the body the entire time stands up, and we learn that it's John Kramer, the man with the brain tumor from the hospital. It turns out that he's the mastermind behind all of it. He peels off the prop latex on his head and leaves the torture chamber with Adam being left to starve.
Starving to death.
That concludes this video, so now you know how to beat all of the traps in 2004's Saw. Overall, I'd say this movie, from pretty much any character's point of view, is fairly easy to beat. If I missed anything or got anything wrong, let me know.
Great ideas.
Anyways, I hope you guys liked it and that I get to see you guys in the next video.
Hey, shout outs to HitStart, man. Great ideas to beat the game, man. 2 terrible ways to go to pass away, to BIE. Getting eaten alive, starving to death. You see, both of them involve some type of eating. Both of them involve some type of eating, bro. Man, that was such a nostalgia trip for me, man. Great breakdown by HitStart. Really enjoyed this, man. Some great ideas to beat these type of games in these situations. You never know what can happen, bro. Watching these videos helps to prepare us for the Armageddon that may ensue. You never know. Let me know what y'all thought of the video down in the comment section. I thought it was a banger. Let me know what you thought of my reaction. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Comment for the algorithm. And if you made it to the end, thank you very much. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.